Hi, everyone. Well, I am so excited to have one of my clients on with me here. She is just such a gem. And I have Celia Faye Meisel here. She is going to share a testimonial. She has been in my mastermind program for the last year, and we've really changed things in her business. And so I am excited for her to share about that and also share about her results. So, Celia, thank you so much for being here and doing this.
Yes, you're welcome.
So you joined my program after actually coming to one of my workshops
hmm
where I was teaching people how to really level up and get those higher paying clients. And then you came into my mastermind, you came to a retreat, and so we've been working together. So just talk about kind of where you were, what you were charging, what you were selling, and then what has shifted and changed in what you're doing now, because it's completely shifted.
It has. Yeah. So when I first came to you, I had been spinning my wheels for about 2 years. I had previously been a coach and had grown my business to pretty good success pre-pandemic. And then a lot of things shifted for me during the pandemic. I really leveled up my skill set. I got a whole new avatar, ideal client that I wanted to work with, and moved from having a coaching business to a consulting business and working with high-level entrepreneurs. And I was really stuck because I didn't have an offer. I didn't know how to talk about my services. And I also couldn't find anybody that could help me. It felt like just the sea of information in my previous coaching. It just didn't apply to what I was doing now. And even though people would say, well, you're doing consulting, it's the same as coaching. And I said, well, it's not. Like, I had a great sales process. I knew how to enroll people. I knew how to get clients. And it really just felt like I was starting over from scratch, even though I had a lot of experience. I had been an entrepreneur for a really long time. And I was losing a ton of money because I wasn't closing deals. Even though I'm great at sales, I was getting into these sales conversations with people, and they would start, and then I didn't even know we were in a sales conversation. It would be like a coffee chat or a connection call. And next thing I know, they're asking me about my services. And then it was just getting so drawn out, and I was sending proposals and people were nitpicking and coming back. And I had a couple clients that I was able to get across the finish line through more of my coaching enrollment process. But
Mhm.
anybody that had a team that had like more of a complex B2B sales process or buying cycle, I was losing those people, and it was costing me a lot of time and energy. And I was super frustrated. And the other piece I'll talk about is that I kept feeling like I was constantly having to like reinvent my business, and I was doubting myself. I was questioning my expertise and my abilities. And so I had started to move into more of like a generalist brand when I met you, that I was trying to get off the ground, because I thought, well, maybe that'll be easier. Maybe I'm just not
Mhm.
supposed to be doing sales consulting. So there was a lot that was going on, and I just felt like I was spinning and spinning, and I wasn't making any traction. And I was at a point that I was really ready to commit, that I felt like I had finished like all the different iterations of my business,
Mhm.
that everything had built up to where I was at that point with my expertise. And I was ready to really commit going forward with my business and what I was doing, so I could actually grow something, because I saw how much it was costing me to constantly like be reinventing my business every
Right.
couple years, couple months, whatever.
Yes, that really holds people back. They can't really get traction on what they do. And I just remember the first conversation you were talking about, well, I do this and I do this. And so I'm trying to decide which way to go. And I think that was even in the workshop, in the virtual
Mhm.
event that I offered. And I said, why can't you put both of those things together? But you
Mhm.
really struggled with how to do that and how to have a method and an easy sales process to bring in the right people for that. What were some of the things, like right now we know you're getting those 40K plus clients, which
Yeah.
is amazing. Some of the other shifts we made is the way you were selling your services before and the way you were charging, and you also weren't selling really transformational types of programs. You were
Mhm.
selling kind of quick,
Yep.
right, quick types of programs, and so you were only getting paid so much money. And I remember the day you sent me a text or a message and you said, oh my gosh, I just got paid in 1 month what I used to get paid in over the course of, a long period.
Yes.
So that was kind of a game changer, changing that cash flow up for you as well, right?
Right, right. So, yes, I mean, what you hit on was I was just kind of pulling things apart, and I didn't see how all of my gifts and all my talents and my abilities and skills really and my expertise really fit together. So, I have a very strong operations standpoint of ability, but then I also have the strong sales and conversion, and I didn't know how they work together. And even one of the coaches I worked with called me a unicorn. You're a unicorn. And it's like,
Huh?
okay, well, great. But even then, how do I market that I'm a
How do you
unicorn?
do it?
Because it just
Right.
it sounds weird. And so when one of the first things that we did was get really clear on my offer and my methodology, which you helped me brand as the MORE method.
Mhm.
And we put together my offer system. And I just remember how amazing it felt to, and it still feels to have this container that holds everything of within my ability, and it's marketed and positioned in a way that I can still grow. It's like it's something that I can still level up and grow into as I
Yes.
evolve without having to reinvent the system and reinvent. So that was massive. And then also I really went out there and put it in front of people right away. Like once we settled on it, because I'm an action taker, I just started getting out there and getting feedback, and then was able to come back to you and make tweaks.
Right.
Because I realized, this positioning is good, but I'm just seeing that like the market isn't responding to this. So we went back, we changed it. And I would say within just a couple weeks of
Mhm.
us making that tweak, I signed my first high level client
Right.
into the MORE method system using our enrollment process.
And I think it's important for people to know that because sometimes things don't work right out of the gate. And this is where the value of working with a coach who can help
Yeah.
you navigate these things is really helpful because a lot of times it's like people keep reinventing themselves. Oh, well, that didn't work. And so they sort of throw it out and they go after the next thing. And this
Yeah.
is a really common thing when people are in the coaching, consulting, or even entrepreneurs doing this and they're like, well, it didn't work. But in reality, it's not that. It's just we have to refine it. And so that is a bit of a process to refine. But you had something that you could take to market actually pretty quickly. I think
Yeah.
within the 30 days, you were able to actually take that out. You had a clear message, all of those things. But then based on the feedback that you got, we knew we had to make some shifts. And even as you have grown into this over the course of the last year, we've made even additional
Mhm.
adjustments to it to keep making it better, to keep
Yeah.
leveling it up. And like you said, it's you can continue to grow into this. This isn't something that you are going to outgrow anytime soon. You are going to be able to work this process for a very long time. It also
Yes.
gives you some flexibility too with the way we structured your method and your offer. Don't you agree with that? You're not so
Absolutely.
stuck in like I say kind of a one trick pony type of method
Yeah.
where people only know how to do one thing. And we were able to pull all of your expertise and your brilliance together. And so you have multiple ways that you can work with people within that framework, within
Mhm.
that method, but they're still buying into the same thing. Is that accurate?
It is. It is. And then I know also when I'm with my clients, I know what we're working inside of, and it's helped me to understand the psychology of my clients too, to see where are those areas that sometimes it takes longer in this area to really get them optimized and get that problem solved for them. That's not going to take 3 months or 6 months, especially if they have a ton of habits and
Right.
bad they have unlearning to do. That's the best way to put it, that
Yes.
it can take them a little bit longer. And so it's really helped me to customize the experience with my clients and then take back to them, hey, we're working on this right now. Like we're still here. And then they can see where they are with me inside of the journey and understand like the iterations of the process. So it's really helped them to understand our work together better and how I'm currently helping them, and also see, well, this is where Celia can help me next. And so there's
Right.
always that next
That
level that they
transformation.
know. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. The other thing too, so is you already had a lot of great relationships with some
Mhm.
partners and things like that. But I know everything changed when we sort of leveled up your mindset and
Mhm.
allowed you to step into your real value that you
Yeah.
can bring to the market. And I know that you made some shifts even in the partnerships, and you started making more money immediately with some of the changes, even in the partnerships. Do you want to talk? And now you're a high level partner, and
Yes.
you turn away partnerships because they don't fit really who you want to work with. So do you want to talk a little bit about that as well?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
partnerships are a way to scale.
Yeah. So when I came to Ann, I had partnerships as a part of my cash flow, and I was pretty much taking what I could get. And just, if something came my way, I would say yes, and I would go with it. And so now I have more discernment, and I'm able to ask for the fees that I know are my value and the value of my service that I bring. In fact, one of my partners, she had introduced me to a client that she was currently working with. And that client came back and said, I want Celia. Like, I want to work with Celia. And I know that it was because in those calls, I just showed up in my expertise with authority. I knew what I was talking about. And so then when she came back and said she wanted to hire and bring me onto the project, I said, great, this is my monthly fee. And so I signed a really great client and got a great opportunity and great money without a lot of work, just being in my expertise. And then the same thing for another partner I have where we do more done for you services,
Mhm.
and just really setting the tone of this is how we do things. This is the standard. So I have a lot of influence with my partners that I work with, and I'm very clear on this is what I'll accept. This is,
Mhm.
what I won't. And am getting better and better about educating them on, a lead should not get this far in our pipeline, or
Right.
so I'm always learning. When things are coming my way, I can see, okay, well, here's a gap, here's an area for improvement for me to have better communication about my standards. So I would say just overall, my standards have increased, and what I will like tolerate
Mhm.
in my business and from people that are approaching me is totally different. But it's also like the questions that I'm asking, like what I
Right.
bring to you in our calls, and the guidance that I seek is coming from that place where I'm just seeing things from a much higher level.
Mhm.
And it's pretty incredible.
So what would you say is the difference in the way we've been working together and maybe some of the things you've done in the past?
Well, I would say that right out of the gate, you really educated me on the power of having a coach, having somebody that you work with, a mentor that you stick with. And so a lot of the programs I had been into, because I come from like the enrollment world and the
Mhm.
enrollment events world, and those were very much like all about that front end sale. And
Right.
even my previous coaches, it was all about the front end sale. And then that was it. And then if you re-enrolled them, great. And if you didn't, like maybe you could get them down in the future, maybe not. But there wasn't really any emphasis on that like lifetime journey of the customer.
Mhm.
But really from a client perspective of me being the client, I started to understand how, like, by me joining a new program every year or hiring different coaches and different programs, that like I was maybe more self-study and self-paced, that it was just
Mhm.
really keeping me stuck, and that I was losing a lot of money and opportunity. And so I think that that was the biggest shift in this,
Mhm.
like this having someone who's like really guiding you in your business, and that you're connected for the long term. It's not just for like this one year program. So I really got into that and bought into that. And that shifted things for me. And it's also shifted how I coach and with my clients, and also the A to Z transformational, like having transformational work. Cause I know a lot of people, they're saying like, I'm a transformational coach. And then they work with you for 3 months and send you on your way.
Right.
But we know that habits and patterns, things that
Right.
we learn, it takes time, and being able to iterate with someone and have that access. And the other thing was the accessibility, that you weren't this high volume coach. I mean, because I had paid for coaching where like I got my 10 calls, and if I had a question, I had to post in the Facebook group,
Or you had
and
to send it
that was
in.
it. Like there
Yes.
was no access. If you wanted to get the access, it was triple
Mhm.
the price. And really the ROI wasn't built in to even make it, to make it worth it. So
Mhm.
that was where I had come from. And so I was already really like bought into that pretty quickly. Like I got it and was like, yeah, that
Mhm.
makes sense to me. And then I, got into the culture.
Yeah, I love it. So what would you recommend someone thinking about stepping in to work with me to get into my programs to get some help in their business? What would be your recommendation there?
Yeah. So I would say that number one, probably what you think your problem isn't your problem. Like it's probably close, but I know for me, I had like maybe two or three issues that kept coming up over and over again that I thought that that was my problem. But then once I got in, I realized, well, it's this slew of other things that are
Right.
deeper. And, if you watch some of Anne's videos, if you come to a workshop and you get some ahas and you're like, wow, I can really use this. Like there's something for you there. And also know that if you try and go and implement it on your own and like do it on your own, that you're going to only be able to see as far as like where you are right now. Like the
Right.
things that I came up with at your workshop and then what you helped me to create, like there was no like they were on totally different planes of existence.
Right.
What I saw and what you saw. And so it's like you have, you are very high level. You're an accomplished businesswoman. Like you've been doing business for a long time. It really shows. And so for anybody that's looking at it, it's like you're a real deal mentor. And this is an incredible opportunity that you have to come and step into mentorship with Anne, because it's truly life-changing and game-changing. But you have to step in, you had to be wanting to do the work. Like, and it's not hard, but you have to do it and you have to put yourself out there and follow the coaching and advice, because there's like so many different options and paths that you provide for us to get to our result, and you help us to find what it is that we really like and what because that's a big part of what you teach is like do you like this, is this how you want to run your business,
Mhm. Right.
as a part of that, so we have that sustainability.
And I love that you said there are a lot of different paths. I think that's a really important thing. I
Mhm.
always say, and I know you feel this way too now after us working together. And I say, I'm not a cookie cutter coach. Your path will be different from someone
Mhm.
else's path. And I think that's important because there are lots of, for example, there are lots of strategies that I teach my clients to get clients, right? Lots of different ways that they can do it. And so many coaches teach one way. And if you don't fit into that box, you're just kind of stuck.
Mhm.
The other thing is helping you pull out your brilliance, your
Mhm.
expertise, and packaging that in a way to help your clients have transformations at a very high level.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of people are teaching these kind of quick one-off programs, and they're not really helping people step into what I really call their highest level of expertise. And that's why they end up charging the low fees or doing these sort of rinse and repeat programs. Nothing wrong with those things. They're good scale strategies, but at the very end of the day, a lot of coaches aren't really very fulfilled in that kind of a model.
No.
Um, they want to look very much like you, very much like me. We want to make a difference in our clients' lives and their businesses, and we can't do that if it's churn and burn. And that's
Mm-mm.
really what we're talking about. And that's a lot of what the industry is.
It is. It is. And I've been so blessed because like when I work with my clients, I can go in and I can find hidden money and I can see what's going on and help them see like, oh my gosh, you have this gold mine in your business, and like your LTV of lifetime value of your customer is so high and you're not capitalizing on it, and help them to reconfigure their business and how they're selling and their culture so they can truly be a transformational company. So it's a gift that I've learned from you that I can impart onto my clients. And I think too, like probably one of the biggest like transformations for me is seeing how when I go and take action, it opens up new doors,
Right.
that whereas I was just kind of maybe sitting in this one, reinventing my business and blah, 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 these kind of surface level things, it's really helped me to go deeper into my own self and my own life and see like every time that there's a growth, all of the opportunity that is there for me to shift and refine and make it better and then to keep going. And you're helping me with that. And so if I didn't have that ongoing support to bring those questions and to keep digging in, I don't know where I would be. I would probably get stuck. And so that's really what I've seen, like in the recent months, as my income has gone up like exponentially, and
Mhm.
things are getting better and better. It's like these new conversations and these new questions are happening, that I'm not talking about my brand and going live on Facebook and posting on
Right.
social media. It's deeper stuff. And I think that that's something that, people really need to look at, as like, where are you stuck and where are you kind of sitting and
Mhm.
spinning? Because like, you're not designed to just be stuck and spinning and sitting all the time,
Right. Right. Do you think too, Celia, and maybe this is something that I know came out of one of our calls and
Mhm.
conversations, is do you feel like I've also helped you be a better coach to your clients? Because I am experienced and I have
Mhm.
walked that path, and it isn't just about teaching you another strategy, but am I coaching you deeper than
Mhm.
just here's a strategy, go and do it, get it, here's how you build your brand. Of course, you got all of those strategies from me.
Yeah.
But do you feel like now it's like, I feel like we're doing more helping you step into being even a better coach? And I know I got a message from you even last week about how that came out with a client.
Yes. Yes. So the first phase of that, I remember, that was your modeling. I would
Yes.
say like your modeling is really powerful, like how you show up, how you're available between calls to answer questions. Like, I just felt like the modeling was really strong, that like, hey, I can, like, she's just a great model that I can implement and be that, and like show up for my clients and answer their questions, and, and it's fine.
Now,
And
most people don't agree with that model at all,
and
right?
they don't, right? But yeah, I don't know. I was in those kind of programs before.
Right. We
But
all
it's
were.
not like we're hanging out, chatting all day, right? Like,
Right.
it's very, it's very like, what's my question? Okay, here's the answer. Need anything else? Good. Okay.
Mhm.
And I'm on. So it's just like that quick, just that quick feedback or that quick answer. And then I'll say, okay, like, this is what I'm going to bring to coaching this week. So it's
Mhm.
helped me to kind of have that, that touch point between calls. And then now the conversations are more about like me being in my power, in my
Mhm.
authority, in my expertise, and understanding. Because one thing I haven't said is I work with very high level clients. And when I came to you, I was doing that more as like a third party consultant and in partnership. So I was inside like very high level business, but I wasn't the one that was going and closing
You
those
weren't the
deals.
leader.
I wasn't the leader. And
Right.
so being on the end of like, okay, I'm the leader, I'm enrolling them, I'm doing the lead gen and everything, it just was a whole different process for me.
Mhm.
And so now that I have more and more high level clients with high multi 6 and 7 figure businesses, they have big teams,
Who are
they're
loving her, by the way. They love her.
and they're, and being an advisory role and saying like,
Mhm.
okay, like, this is really easy. And this is what's different from what I've experienced. You're helping me to go deeper, and things are shifting inside of me about how I show up and who I am. And so there's just always like deeper and deeper levels for sure. But yes, I think you've really helped me with the psychology of like the high level buyer and the high
Mhm.
level business owner and how they behave
Mhm.
versus like going after the struggling business owner.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. This has been so good. I thank you so much, first of all, for getting on here and just talking this through. And it's been
Yeah.
such a pleasure working with you. I've loved it as well. She is an action taker, and those are amazing clients to work with, as you all know. Any parting words or anything that you would, any recommendations, anything that you would add to this conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, a lot of people, when they're looking at making an investment, and if their business isn't where they want it to be, they know that it could take them further, that they could be further along. And then they use like the chicken or the egg. Well, I need to sign a few clients before,
Right.
it's like when you really look at how much money you're losing day after day, month after month, year after year, not having the right support, and you do the math from that against like investing with Anne, like it's night and day, like the money that you can make on the other side of having the strategy and the plan and the offer and all of the other things that she can help you with. It's just, there's no comparison. So you have to get out of your thinking around the chicken or the egg or sign a few clients
Because even one
first.
client makes back your investment.
Absolutely.
Yes.
One
Yeah.
client. Absolutely. So that's what I would definitely say. And then also if you're hanging around, like there's something for you here, like take action and go for it, because you will be transformed, and where you might be stuck now, well, it'll just be like a distant memory, looking at the rearview mirror. Like you'll be like, wow, I'm so glad I'm done with that. So those are my parting words.
Was it scary for you, just to kind of hit on this, because I think for
Yeah.
a lot of people, I think it's not a secret that I'm not an inexpensive coach, right? I'm an
Mhm.
investment, but because I know the value that people
Yeah.
get, and I know that with one client they're going to make their money back, and so having that time with me. But was it scary for you to step into that? Did you feel like, okay, the big risk? Were you
Mhm.
afraid to do that, or
Mhm.
were you excited? I would love to kind of hear where you were at the very
Mhm.
beginning, if you can think that far back.
I can. I really remember the moment where I knew that I was going to work with you, like, and so there were two things. One is I just saw my potential,
Mm,
and I just
love
saw
it.
that there was this path and there was this life and there was this business that was available to me, and what I was doing wasn't getting me there. And so for me, it was like I was hiring you and joining your program, but I was investing in my potential.
I
And
love that.
so
So
that was
good.
what really, like, that place that I came from. But it was also like you had helped me see so clearly why things weren't working. And so
Mm,
I saw myself having different results inside of your solution. And so it
mhm.
was those two things of the potential and knowing, like, you know what, I know that her solution is going to help me and it's going to work for me, because everything I've ever invested in has worked. I just have that attitude.
Mhm.
So of course it was like scary, but I would say that it was the easiest. It was the most cash money I had ever put down at once. And I
Mhm.
actually even like invested extra at the beginning,
Mhm.
and on my own accord, like, I want to do this. And so
Mhm.
it just felt like the right thing. And so I just went for it with like a big energy. So
Yeah,
it's
love it.
scary. I just think it was more from a powerful space.
I love that. I think that's so important. And so many people just make an investment off of their cash flow and they never think about, I want to move forward faster. And so this is that next step for me. And so I think it's important for people to know that as well. And I love what you shared. I was investing in my potential. And
Yes.
so often, I know for me, I found it hard to find someone that I felt could help me when I came into this space. And I was very much like you. I invested in so many different things. And so it was when I took a step back and said, wait a minute, none of this is tapping into my potential.
Right.
And that's when I had to figure it out on my own, because I couldn't find someone that could help me at that level. And so but I really love that you shared that, because that is gold right there. If people could grab onto that. And I just want to say, I would not bring in anyone to work with me that I did not truly see that potential in, or
Hmm.
believe that I could help them,
Hmm.
rise to the level that I know they can, because
Hmm.
that's just, to me, that's an integrity thing. So I'm so excited that you shared this. Thank you for
You're
being on
welcome.
here. It's been such a pleasure,
You're welcome.
and I appreciate you so much. All right,
Yes.
thanks.
Hmm.